For a session presented by Google, please welcome the Managing Director of Travel at Google, Nelson Boyce, in discussion with SkiftX Head of Studio, Jeremy Kressmann.
Nelson, welcome to Skift Global Forum. Great to have you here.
Thank you, Jeremy. Glad to be here.
Can I just confirm we did not coordinate our outfits in advance?
We did not coordinate our outfits. We did not.
So I am excited we get to chat today about a topic that I think is near and dear to both of our hearts, and that is artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
We've seen the capabilities of AI grow by leaps and bounds over this past year, especially when it comes to its use in the travel industry. Sure. Skift actually released a report this past year on the impact of AI on travel, looking at how it's going to transform things like customer service, advertising, even things like developing new products and services. So Nelson, we know Google's a company that knows a thing or two about consumer habits and AI. How do you see AI actually impacting the way that travelers are researching, shopping, and then also buying those trips?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Listen, AI has been part of our DNA for actually quite some time. When you look at the customer journey, it's particularly interesting, particularly post-pandemic, where you have this notion of the need for personalization. The expectation of travelers is extremely high. And the journey in and of itself is one where they're seeking for more seamlessness, less friction. Mm-hmm. And so literally the journey of planning, preparing, booking, and actually getting to the point of going on the trip is actually longer now than the trip itself and the post-trip. Right. And so when you think about that customer journey and ultimately what that means, we think about that in terms of how we develop our solutions and our ad products. And so those have been driving mechanisms ultimately for how we think about the travel experiences for our partners and our travelers. And it ultimately shows up in the way that those things resonate on Google and on YouTube.
Sure.
And most recently, for those of you who may be familiar with Bard, which is pretty much our generative kind of assistant, if you will,
right,
consumer facing, it now has extensions, right? Which means the extensions ultimately allow Bard to both find and show relevant information across all the Google tools that you use every single day. So Gmail, Docs, Drive, Maps, YouTube, right, Google Flights and Hotels are now all a part of those extensions. So for example, if you're planning a trip to the Grand Canyon and you engage in the extensions, it will go ahead and allow you through Gmail to figure out who has the best availability within your group to travel, right, and when to go. Gives you real-time information around flights and hotels. Yeah. Would allow you to access YouTube to see a video about what to do in market, all through one conversation. And so when you think about that journey and the usage of AI about simplifying that journey, I think you'll start to see a lot more of that.
We talk about the seamlessness and how important that is to the customer. It makes a lot of sense that it's now baked into Google's AI, conversational AI product. Yes. So let's talk about the flip side of the consumer experience, right? We're at an industry conference. I think all of us want to know, how is AI actually going to help those of us here adapt to some of these changes you're describing, what consumers are now demanding?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is advertising and marketing is at a watershed moment, right? The principles generally of marketing and advertising remain the same, but the how is going to continue to change significantly. And I think travel marketers should think about AI, and the way we think about AI is multiplying as your business multiplier. And so, kind of what does that mean? Well, it means you'll be able to, through AI, expand your reach, right, through kind of reimagined travel experiences of today, right? You should be thinking about how AI will maximize your investment through AI-powered opportunities, be it bidding tools, insights, measurement, things of that nature. It'll also help in terms of inspiring. Sure. Right, from the standpoint of, and we heard a lot about millennials and Gen Z today, how will video ultimately play into that, not only through awareness and so forth, but throughout the entirety of the funnel.
Right. Yeah, we often think about the opportunities in the lower funnel as part of travel, but there's a lot of great opportunities upper funnel, right, for more creative inspiration, right?
And interestingly about that, those things that I mentioned are ultimately kind of delivered through a product that we have called Performance Max.
Okay.
And Performance Max ultimately allows for you to ultimately enter in your objectives, right? And then it optimizes across all Google surfaces to be able to deliver your intent across a number of services and a number of different audiences for perfect maximization. A partner that we have in Lufthansa actually utilized Performance Max. Most recently, they were in a growth mode, regardless of what the economy may have suggested. And that growth was really based in their ability to acquire new customers and at a very high value. They used Performance Max and had amazing results. 45% lift in customer acquisition, 59% lift in additional bookings, and a 27% reduction in cost per acquisition, which was just truly phenomenal. And when you take that into consideration with the fact that they have done well at cultivating their audience data, they've done well at understanding their customer journey, they understand exactly what it means from a lifetime value standpoint.
Right.
Good input into AI is good output from AI. Something to definitely note.
Nelson, I think this is such an interesting example because we think about AI right now, it's in this conversational interface, right? But it's powering so much of the advertising optimization that can be done to make your marketing campaigns better, right?
Yes.
You mentioned this Lufthansa example. I know you work with all kinds of partners across the industry.
Yes.
Can you share some other examples of how AI is helping to power some of these marketing and these creative optimizations?
Yes, a couple come to mind, actually. So Hilton is actually a great example of a company, using YouTube through our product video reach campaigns to really maximize awareness through that AI-powered tool on YouTube. Whereas people would kind of upload or create separate campaigns around a 6-second bumper or non-skippable or skippable in-stream ads, what we call VRC, video reach campaigns, does is ultimately allows for marketers to upload all their creative formats and let the AI optimize for the placement of those formats at the moments that matter with the right messages that matter. Another example comes to mind with Economy Car Rentals Group, which is out of Greece. And interestingly enough, they are a great example of what has previously been a pernicious challenge amongst rental car companies around trying to reduce cancellations, reduce revenue loss as a function of cancellations, and then to optimize revenue return on investment. In that particular case, they've got data and locations at 120 places around the globe. They were using a model that was kind of giving insight into return on ad spend that was not ultimately capturing the full picture of what they were trying to achieve. So they basically needed to remodel this notion of the predictability of cancellations. So they worked with a third-party engineering company that was also then in combination with Google Cloud AI infrastructure, which then drove the new model to really be able to better predict when cancellations may occur, regardless of whether it was a long-term booking to an eventual cancellation or even short-term. Results of that ultimately were that they were able to increase in more accurately predicting cancellations by 20%. And for short-term rentals, literally 99% accuracy. That combined with Google Ads, which allows for an AI-powered opportunity around value-based bidding, they were then able to layer that on to really extract the most value out of those available customers, thus lessening emphasis on those who were most apt to cancel and increasing the opportunity to really extract value out of those that were most apt to actually go ahead and rent through completion.
Such an interesting example because you think about the complexity there. You mentioned 120 locations in this business. No human, I don't care how good you are at math, could figure that out for themselves.
Right, it's pretty tough.
So this is a great example of how it's optimizing.
Yes.
Thinking about AI more broadly as a tool, I get the sense from some people in this audience and conversations I've had, it can be a little intimidating, right? You're like, where do I start? How do I use it? How do I power my business? For those that are looking for kind of an easy way to get started, what are some practical tips you would give the marketers here in this room?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, one, I would say we recently published our AI Essentials Checklist. So I would certainly direct you to there as a starting point. But I think there are a few things to think about in that regard. First of all, ready yourself and set the foundation. And by that, I really mean a couple of easy things, or relatively easy things that are really important as you think about your AI journey. And that's site-wide tagging, right? You really want to make sure that you understand even the customer journey that's happening within your own owned and operated. And then really making sure that you're taking the time to deepen the relationships that you have with your customers. The second is to really maximize your investment in regard to AI-powered campaigns and technologies. AI, in that sense, is really going to help make sure that you are extracting the most value out of the customers, right? Getting the most conversions for the proper return on investment, and at the same time allowing for you to find incremental customers through either new search queries, new surfaces, or platforms to really take advantage of that. And then the last is really about shifting the mindset of your organization. To be successful in this space, you really need to have a test and iterate kind of mentality. That's really important, in addition to being agile and flexible around being able to pivot budgets to where you see the most meaningful outcomes for your business occurring.
Well, it's really interesting. I think we're running a bit short on time. Nelson, for people that did want to learn a bit more about Google for Travel, I know we mentioned you can go to this Industry for Travel page, scan the QR code. It's really been a pleasure to chat with you today. Thank you so much.
Likewise, and I'll just leave you with one note. You're not competing with AI. You're competing with other travel marketers who are understanding how to take AI and use AI for the purposes of their business quicker than you are.
Thank you so much, Nelson.
Thank you.
Good.